So while there are a bunch of tools out there with everything from Chart.js to Python, Matplotlib, all this kind of stuff for creating really fancy dynamic interactive charts, there are still plenty of people using Excel for their data analytics on a daily basis. That's just a fact. One of the things I've always struggled with in Excel is coloring of charts. In a lot of other programs, you can determine programmatically or through the data the coloring of the particular chart series. So in Excel, you can go in and format stuff, but ideally what you want to do is have a set of data and have that data, oh my god, I've got caffeine-induced eyelid tremors. So what I'm going to show here is quite a simple example of how to grab the cell references, grab the colors from those cells and apply those to a chart. And you'll see what I mean once I get into it. So if I start with the finished product and work backwards, then you can see just how it works. This chart here, you can see, is using the colors from these cells. So just as, if we look at the individual series, you can see they reference this column and this cell for the label and the data values. And what we're going to do with this quick Visual Basic script is take that one step further and read the color value from these cells to then apply to this chart. So if I just go ahead and change this to Bob, and then I'm going to make Bob hot pink. And then if I go ahead and run my script like so, now that field or that series is pink. And you can see the label down here on the legend has changed as well. So let's get into it, and I'll show you how I went about putting it together. I'll try and as much as possible leave in all the mistakes as well, for the reason that sometimes, well, unless you've got everything scripted, programming isn't really about program is a mixture of puzzle solving and trial and error, and sometimes it's good to see the methods of figuring things out when it goes wrong. This is a different solution to the one I had originally done, and I had scripted something else, but yeah, anyway, so let's get a coffee on the go, because I don't think I've had enough coffee yet. We're only on mug 5. We need a 6th mug to round this off, I think. So what I'll be doing is drinking so much coffee that my eye starts involuntarily twitching. When you set up a chart by default, something like this, where you've got, in this case, I've got risk factors. So it's kind of like discrete sets of data. To low risk, medium, and so on, all the way to high. When you first create a chart from that data, Excel will assign random colors, which is fine. But ideally, you want to express this this gradient, this change from low to high with a color. Typically, you have, well, green to red, so red, amber, green. Or you can have in this case, I've made a blue gradient. And what I want to do is take these cell colors here, because I can see if I select on an individual, I can see when I select on an individual series in a chart, and you can see 2 here, that's the reference to that range, and the label here is all covered in this function here called series. You can see an address reference to the label and to the series. And what I want to do is create, oh yeah, I should have said these are randomly generated, just using the old rand between. So what I want to do is essentially pass the data in this function, grab this reference, then have a reference to that cell, get the color from that cell, and apply it to the series to then make our nice gradient. So without further ado, let's go into a Visual Basic. I'm going to do Alt F11. And just like Blue Peter, for anyone that's old enough to remember it, here's one I've prepared earlier. I want to check, first of all, that I've got a chart object selected. Now, this is what this bit of pre-written code is doing. So, these little bits here, oops, I can't remember what the right set comment. I might just comment these, let's just, right. This is something that's very easy to skip over, but in this case, it's really annoying when you haven't got a chart selected and it throws errors. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to check, is there a chart selected? If there's no chart, i.e. this error event fires off, I'm going to skip down to here. I'm just going to quietly in the background write to the log saying no charts. And that's all it should do. So if I run this now with F5, oops, I'll just clear this as well. F5, there you go, no charts. And then if I go into here and select the chart, what I should see is the name of the chart. Okay, that's that done. So we're all good. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my chart objects to active charts, like so. And what should happen is where this chart exists. Let me see. Let's just like my chart object name. I'm just going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to check that this is being picked up. Run F5. Oh yes. Okay. Debug.print. And I'm just going to put in here my chart object. Right, why is that not working? What? Oh, okay, let's just call it chart then. Alright. Right. Okay, sorry. I was using chart object. I'm probably going a bit too far. I only need a reference to a chart, and that's fine. I was making it way more complicated than it needed to be. So in this case, I'm not doing anything fancy, but if you were to, down the line, try and automate a whole bunch of charts being adjusted or whatever, then you'd be using a chart objects collection, and that's a bit more sort of complicated. But what I'm just going to do is this will only work on the single selected chart you've got. So anyway, let's actually get down to actually doing something now with this. So we've tested and we've got the charts coming through. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to have another variable up here, call it integer, like so. Oops. Remember line endings, got to remember what language I'm using. Right, so I'm going to loop through each of the chart series in that chart. So I'm going to say for LP equals LP equals 1 to chart.full series collection dot count. And hopefully that works. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just again test. I'm going to say, so let's do series collection with that referenced in that loop, so that index number LP, which is going to loop through each of them, and then we're going to print the name of that. Oops, name like so, and then let's just test it again. So with an F5, Oh, yes, we've got to reference the chart. So my charts object dot series collection, like so. And we've got no charts. Let's just make sure. Oh, this is long. Oh. Right, okay. Make sure you're referencing the object. You want to... right, okay, we're cooking on gas now, right. Oh, right, okay. I was just being very silly. What's a Burke? This is working. I've got references to all my chart series. But now what I need is to get the formula of that series object. And to do that, I'm going to say, so formula, like so. Run it again. And here we go. Here's the formula that references those those cells. Now I can't access that as a reference directly. I just get this string with this in there. So in order to use this, I need to use the Excel split function and then split with the opening bracket. I don't know, what do I need? I need to split at the exclamation mark. Or do I? Oh no, maybe I'll keep it, yeah. Okay, I want it as R1C1. If you just do formula, you get the, the columns with the name on, so column C, D, E, F, and so on. But R1C1, it's just the notation, so then that actually shows the reference of the column or the column location as like a grid reference on how many rows across, how many columns across, how many rows down, and so on. So that's what we want, because what we need to do is, and I'm going to create two new variables, X and Y. I'm storing these as long data types because integer only goes up to 32,000, I think. And for some Excel sheets, I mean, I hope there's not a chart that has more than 30,000 data points, but theoretically you could have a reference in the range of 1,000,000, as that's how many rows the newish, that's how many rows the Excel documents have now, or have had for a while. Set a reference string, so I'm going to say store this whole thing in a string. Call it my ref string, my temp ref string, just in case, like so. My reference string, and then I'm going to say my reference string equals, and then I'm going to say that. And then I'm going to take it again, and I'm going to do split. So my temp ref string, my delimiter is going to be, the first delimiter is going to be the opening. Oh no, it's going to be. Let's just use the exclamation point and. Compare method. Text compare, let's see. And then I'm going to say, can I say 1, like so? Let's see if this works. This may not work. Okay, alright, that is working. So what this does, I should explain what this is actually doing. So this function split takes my string, finds where the exclamation point is. Well, if I had a comma delimited string, what split would do is turn that comma delimited string into an array of values. But since the string only has one exclamation point, I have two portions of the string as an array, the beginning and the end. And I only need the end here, which is reference 1, I think, like so. Ah, okay, yeah, because I have two. Okay, right. So just to make sense of this, I'll just show you again. And if you can see this on screen. So if you do a lot of stuff with formulas across sheets, you'll know that the exclamation mark is used to make a reference to a sheet when you're referencing a range. So if you want to reference a particular worksheet, you would use that notation. But now I'm looking at the series. You've got two exclamation marks. So what I'm going to do with this split function, what I'm going to do is say, okay, I'm going to split where there's an exclamation mark, which is going to give me here to here, because I have two exclamation marks in this string here, and here. So I want to just capture this. Oh, helps if you have a variable type correctly. Okay, so we've got that bit of string now. So what we could do, well, there's two schools of thought. There's one that says you could put it all on one line to make it nice and easy to, no? Why would you do that? No, okay. Right, let's increment it. So yeah, there's two ways you could do it. You could nest all these like this in one horrendous long, incomprehensible trail of gobbledygook, which once you get 2 layers deep is almost unreadable. Or instead we can just run them in series, so it's a bit easier to read. So taking that same string and modifying it step by step, and that's probably easier. And that's what I'll do. Let's see. I don't need that at the moment. Right. So I want to get the row reference. So I'm going to say debug print. I'm going to split again. And this time I'm going to use C, like so. Let's see. Okay, that's working. That's all good. Fantastic. And then I finally want to split it again. So I think I will go down the route of nested incomprehensible gobbledygook, because why not? And then let's do R. What's going on here? Oh, that's 0. Splits. Oh, dear. Print. Make sure this is working. Is this working? Oh, R needs to be 1. Cool. All right. So we are getting there. So I'm probably not explaining this very well. So let's just debug print. So I'll show you what we get, and then hopefully this will make sense. So I don't need that for now. So anyway, we loop through each of the series. That gives us, let's just do this up here, like so. That gives us this function here, this series function, that takes in all the data, the label, or the title of that series, and then the individual cells with the values in. And I think the number here is its order. So what we do then is we take this string and we use the split function to first split between the two exclamation marks, because we only want to grab this part here, which is the row 1 column 5. So if I run that again, now we've got that row 1 and then the column. And then finally I want to take that again and break it down into its components parts. So for the Y component, which is the row, I'm selecting first the C as the delimiter, and then grabbing this portion here, which is to the left of that, which is part 0 of the array. And then finally I am splitting that again with R as the delimiter to select to the right of the R, and that gets me the 1. And for the X, the reverse is going to be true, so I'm going to split at the actually I can just skip that whole thing completely. I only need the inner one, so I can just get the C like so, and I get part 1, which should be to the right of the C, and then I'm going to say Y which is the row equals, and then I'm going to use just because Y is going to be a long, I'm going to do the conversion to CLNG, which converts a string to a long, like so, and the same for this one. You say X equals C long, like so. Now, if I put my print on the end of there, I should hopefully get right, just so you can see it nicer. So there we are. There we've extracted it. It wasn't straightforward because of it's not easy because the series collection, you can't reference that cell. You can't get a reference to that directly with the method on the series collection object. So instead, a bit of working around, we got there in the end. So that gives us our X and our Y. So the next thing to do, and we can do this here, so I'm just going to copy this line, and what I'm going to say is that, and then I'm going to say get the, so using the cell function, I'm going to input the cells, sorry. Cells. So first is row, which is Y, and then column, which is X, dots, text, I think. Let's see. All right. And it's working. What have we got? We have, I'll just run this again. So it's cell text, and that's coming through from here. We're reading row 1, and then columns 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like so. And if I put in like Bob, and then just make it white so you can read it. So there you go. If I run this again, whoops, F5, whoops, select the chart, does help. And there we go, we've got Bob. So we're reading those cells, and that's what we need. So finally, we need to reference the color of those cells. And that's pretty straightforward. Instead of the text here, we're going to do interior, which is a reference to the inside of the cell, so which is for styling the background of the cell. And interior.color, and hopefully that should give us a series of these are also long data types, and these are how Excel stores colors. So we've got that color from the cell, but now we need to apply it back to that series object, or that the chart itself. So let's just store this as a value, so that my RGB is long, like so. Let's just make another variable, so that will store my color. So I'm going to say my color equals and then finally we're going to apply from to the series collection so that's where I originally got the that formula for the series from. Then I'm going to say fill for color dot RGB equals my RGB. So if I've done this correctly, and I hope I have, what I should get is, now if I select this chart and then run this, there we go. So that's how we've done, that's how we've taken these colors. So we've got a chart object which we reference in our loop. We go through each of the series objects in that chart. We, in the most complicated way possible, managed to extrapolate a reference to the cell that's used to then get the label for that series. And then finally, we take that color value from the background of that cell and apply it back to the chart to set it as a fill. And that's pretty much it. So if I just change these to some ridiculous colors, like let's just make, I don't know, a hot pink. Oops. Let's just make, right, so let's do yellow, pink, orange. Let's pick a really horrendous lime green. Wonderful. And then let's just make this one black. So select this again, run my script, and there we go. We've highlighted the charts based on those colors. That pretty much covers everything, I think. So these colors, again, it could be anything. Yeah. Oops. Why isn't that working? Oh. And then let's make that. So let's run my routine again. So there we go. So we've got our custom colors there. So that's pretty much how we can do it. The other thing, if I just change this, it's chart type. Let's make it a line chart. Now, if I run this on the line chart, nothing will happen because we're not using fills. A line chart is, by its very nature, a line. It doesn't have a fill. It is just the line value. So what we can do now, if you want to modify this and expand it to then have some options, this is something you can do. So right now it's just changing the fill color, but instead of the format fill, let's do format line, like so. Then if we run this again, now we've colored the lines in with that color. And then if we change the chart type again, let's see, change chart type to What other charts could we use? Maybe a bar chart. Okay, that will work. Well, it's already got this. You know, that one thing is quite handy. Switching between bar and line chart is quite straightforward. So the colours will already stay fixed and translate across quite nicely. And the colours will translate quite nicely, with the exception of negative values, which cause it to have a bit of a nightmare. So, yeah, don't put negative values in the bar chart, especially if it's stacked, because that would look horrendous. We change this back to change chart type. Then we change this back to a stacked area again. I don't really want negative values. Right, okay, sorry, I just had to quickly change up the data. But yeah, so that's pretty much how you would do it. Hopefully this makes sense. You can set both of these things at once. Setting this on a chart that isn't using line or fills won't bring up any errors or anything. You can just set the fill color even if it's not being used. So, I mean, this will work with as many data points as you want. This also works, so in this example, just a quick one. Say I want to identify the stock prices. I can do that here too. So one other thing that might be useful is where, if you've got, in this instance, like a bunch of different random data points, Excel's done its normal thing of throwing in some random, quite sort of heinous combinations of colours. If you wanted to clean this up and change them all at once, or do a nice sort of mixture of colours, you know, ones that go together, we can do that. And like so. Oh yeah, you can do, I should say, you don't need to, once you've got your script set up, you don't need to keep going into Visual Basic to run it. You can just do Alt F8 and run from there as well. So if we make these like so, some nice orange. So Alt F8, bring it up, hit run. And then again, you can do your colouring. And hopefully, because it's applied the fill colours, if I change to change chart type, where is it? Change chart type, make this area. Oh, maybe it doesn't. Okay, no, it doesn't. So I need to run it again. Alt F8, run. Okay, like so. Time for a celebratory coffee. If this gets a few more views, then perhaps I will do a whole series on colours and stuff. Because there's quite a lot you can do with colour in Excel that isn't really... Because there are some quite useful things in Excel you can do with colour, but require a bit of VBA to then take advantage of. But maybe if this gets some likes, then or some views or something, I'll do another series on this. So yeah, there you go, that's that. I'll offer it as a download on the video, so you can link it and have a play. And yeah, see you next time.